this vibe engineering, my AI workflow explained. Yeah, I will try and do my best to explain things. As some of you may know, my mind jumps all over the place from left, right, and centre, and up, down, north, south, east, west. So it might be a little bit, here and there. But if you've got any questions, pop them in the chat or just come off mute and ask a question. As I said, the session's recording, so if you don't want to be on camera, that's also fine. So the first thing we are going to do is I'm going to just send you this link in the chat. And if you want to click on there and then head over to that page. And I just want you to think of maybe something that you'd like to build, or you've got an idea that you want to build something, and hopefully this page will refresh with your answers. Can be anything, can be like, you're trying to sort your kids' life out, or could be, I don't know, you want to test something, or you want to build your kids a chore app or something. Oh, see, look, live demo not working. Brilliant. Let's see, it's working for me. Brilliant. Oh, there we go. Swim school bookings. Very good. Okay, that's good. Anyone got any other ideas that they would like to submit? Daily achievement tracker. Yeah. Exercise tracker. Okay. User group site. Okay. I wonder who put that one in. Any more for any more? And then I think what we'll do is we'll have a little vote as to which one you think I'd like to kind of show through this AI workflow how we could maybe go about building it. So if there's no more, if you want to put your hand up for swim school bookings, then I'll do so. Okay, no one. Brilliant. Not even the person who put it on there. Daily achievement tracker. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, quite a few. Okay, I'm just going to skip over user group site because you've already got one of those. Exercise tracker. And yeah, testing, that was me. So Lucas, if you have just joined, if you click on that word cloud link and you want to pop in an idea of something that you might want to build, or if you are happy, we could try and do this swim school bookings. Family calendar. Yeah, that's a beast. I think that was yours, Lucas, probably. So any votes for family calendar? It's between swim school bookings or votes on family calendar. I think.
I thought we were doing daily achievement tracker. Isn't that the one got all the votes?
I thought so too.
Sorry, yeah, daily achievement tracker.
Sorry. Just as a
thank you. Thanks for keeping me honest. Yeah. Okay, so let's go with daily achievement tracker. So if I jump over to here, you might have seen this screenshot that I put on LinkedIn, and this is kind of my workflow basically. So I'm going to say now, it's not free, but it's not expensive either, especially when we get down this end, which I was quite surprised about. So we've got ChatGPT or Gemini for like ideation. Notebook LM, which I use for kind of contextual refinement and also trying to get a really good prompt that I can use in something called Firebase. Firebase is a Google product for free, unless you start using their storage capability. But even then, it's like pence. I think I've got maybe 10 projects on the go in Firebase. Them have storage enabled, and it's like 3p a month or so. It's just pence. It's nothing. When you've got the Firebase stuff kind of going, you can then export the code, and then this is really where the magic happens. I've got a visual. It's kind of like Visual Studio IDE AI editor called Windsurf. That's probably where the majority of the money is spent on, because I think you get 400 credits or something for £12 a month, and then if you want to buy more, you have to purchase more. For a couple of things, I've then integrated Stripe for payments. I've then also been able to use MCP servers. So MCP services, Model Context Protocol, and it's basically a natural language layer that sits above an API endpoint. You authenticate with it with like an API key, and you can then connect to that MCP service inside Windsurf. So other MCP servers include GitHub, Playwright for testing, Netlify, which I use for release management, also Notion. So if you're using Notion for user stories, etc., you can connect to Notion with an API key, and then you can basically just do everything in Windsurf. Like you can say, get the most highest priority user story that is assigned to me in Notion, and let's build it together. I'm then using GitHub to host the code, and then when I'm hosting it and getting it out there onto the web, I'm using Netlify. Netlify, you can get that for free, but the build minutes, like how often you're doing deployments, I think are limited to about 400 or 500 minutes over the course of a month, and then that gets reset. So I pay for that as well, and that is still quite cheap. It's like £12 a month. So if we go to this daily achievement tracker, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into ChatGPT, and I am just going to explain, like, I want to build an app that captures my daily achievements. Maybe I want to gamify it so that I can see progress and results over time. For the person who put in the daily achievement tracker, is there anything else that you would like potentially? You want to come off mute?
Yeah, I was thinking on the lines of, let's say, your work life, where you have set goals. So when the appraisal time comes, you suddenly go blank. Ooh, what did I achieve in the last 6 months or 3 months or 1 year? Nothing. But if you're keeping a daily track against the goals, then you have a list of things that you've achieved over the past, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months. You can collect that information, and bam, your appraisal prep is ready.
Okay, so maybe we'd also want some kind of export functionality, maybe.
Can I add to that? It's almost like in an agile way, like, what have I got to do today? What am I doing? What did I struggle with yesterday? That level of thing, so that you can keep a track of what you're supposed to be doing, as well as what do I need to catch up on.
So what, like daily task management?
Yeah.
Yeah,
because then you can also use
that,
in a retrospective way to say, like, especially in appraisal, like, this is something that I've struggled with. This is something that, although I keep trying to do it in a day, actually I have to do catch up for it because this isn't manageable in the time I've got. So it works both ways.
So yeah, the daily activities or tasks or achievements should be connected to goals, or you should be able to connect to one
Yeah.
or more goals.
Okay. And I suppose we're going to need to be able to authenticate, like maybe we want to log in as maybe our Microsoft account or Google. So I'm going to add that. Um, uh,
Provide a summary against each goal for activities performed during a specified time. Collate and summarize.
okay.
A reminder towards the end of the day to log your daily achievement. And if you missed it, maybe first thing in the morning as well for the previous day if you were too busy.
And a way to set it to ignore certain days and weeks if you've got annual leave or if you're not doing
Okay.
the thing you're looking at it for, like a holiday mode or something.
So perhaps a settings area where you can configure these settings.
Okay. So as you can see, I'm being pretty descriptive on what I'm saying. Now, I know that I'm going to be building this in Firebase. Firebase, basically, we use Firebase from Google. I use Firebase from Google for a couple of reasons. One, for authentication, and two, for database storage. So I'm going to add this in here. I'm going to be building this in Windsurf AI IDE, and I using storage. Please provide a Firebase Windsurf form to start build. Okay, so this is now going to go away and do stuff. Other things you can do here as well, which is what I've created like a custom GPT for it. So I've got a custom GPT that I'll just go into it and say, find me niche ideas on Reddit which I can monetize, and it will go off. It will first of all ask me what are my passions and what kind of things am I interested in, and then it will go off to Reddit and it will find these things where people are asking for that problem to be solved. And if you look at there's a YouTube channel about entrepreneur startups. A lot of them are literally like people just trying things and sometimes hitting on gold, sometimes not, but yeah, all mostly one person, one band, one person in there, just them building. And some of them are making crazy amounts of money. So we can not worry about that. So at the moment it's telling us, it's telling us what to do. And I think the only thing is, okay, so the app requirements there as well. So what I can do now is I can copy this and I can go to the Firebase console, actually Firebase Studio, and you just sign in. It's a Google product, so you sign in with Gmail or whatever. I think there are other auth methods as well. And so what this does is this is like a starter for 10 really. So I could just paste this in and then click prototype. And what it's going to do is that it's going to basically build 40% of the code and get us into a position where I can export the code from here and then use it in Windsurf. I am going to just turn off those AI features for now, because that's a complexity we don't need at the moment. And then, so it's going through style guidelines, the stack that it's going to use, and even giving it a name. I mean, I'm okay with that name. And then we can click prototype. And yeah, this can take like between 10 and 15 minutes or so. While that is doing that, if we go back to here, has anyone used Notebook LM at all? Okay, so I've been kind of in AI for probably the best part of nearly 2 years now, and yeah, there are some things where I still see them work, and I think, wow, that's magic. And Notebook LM is one of these. So what Notebook LM does is it allows you to provide their AI model, and I think this is it's owned by Google as well, context of your information. So I can say, right, I'm going to paste text. That is the main prompt that I've just created, and I can insert that, and I can start asking it questions like, is there anything here I have missed functionality wise? So there is quite a bit. So it's telling me application must be a web app called React. Project is that, data storage requirements, routing requirements. Think of the specification as blueprint and multi-layered function. So, and you can add things like, for example, I could say, right, okay, I want to make sure that the website that I'm building is going to be WCAG compliant, so accessibly compliant. So I can go back to the Notebook LM, and I can add a link to a website, paste it in there, and now it's looking at two sources. So what I'm going to build plus the WCAG guidelines, and I can say using the WCAG guidelines, please provide a prompt for an AI IDE to ensure I comply with those codes. So it's like it's citing the sources from each one of those, and it's giving me a kind of instruction that I can then copy and paste and put into Windsurf, or I can put into here when it's finished. And again, like, so for example, say you did want to copy and paste us, I can just say provide that again with no citations. Yeah, so this tool is really crazy. I'm just going to pop out of here and show you some other ones. So, so this one, this one, I've uploaded all of the audio that I've had over the years around therapy sessions. So this is audio files from my iPhone, and I can then go through that by just asking questions. The other thing that's rather cool as well, if we go to let's find another one. Oh yeah, that's the Dorset holiday. So this one, which is going to give you an insight into my life here. Look. This one, this is a PDF of my entire WhatsApp history from between me and my wife from 2017 to date, and I can start asking it questions like, when was the last time I bought her a necklace or something, and it will come up with it. The other thing that's really crazy here is that there's these things called, I mean, that's new, I haven't actually seen that one before, but there's an audio overview, and you can click that and it generates a podcast about that content between two people talking, which is just, it's insane. Anyway, that's a bit of a deep dive on Notebook LM, but it's an amazing, it is a really clever product, and I use it a lot. So let's go back to here. So it's basically created this prototype for us, which is nice. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on edit the code, and I am going to select all of the code, and then I am going to zip and download, and hopefully, yeah. So what this is doing now, it's getting the entire code base, and it is zipping it up for me, which it does sometimes take a while, and then I'll be able to unzip that and import it into Windsurf, because the Firebase Studio is good, like just from a visual thing, it's good to see what's going on, but I've found you can't really do very much in here, especially around auth and the more deeper stuff that you might need to do around Firebase database manipulation and storage and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I still don't know why this takes so long to do this, but it takes ages to do this. Before I continue, is there any questions at all before I carry on? Feel free to come off mute if you want to. Okay, so going back to here, so what we're doing at the moment, we're kind of in this position here. We've kind of built the kind of POC using Firebase Studio. I'm now exporting the code, and then I'll be able to edit it in Windsurf. To show you what Windsurf looks like. So if you're used to Visual Code or maybe Cursor or anything like that, it's quite similar. So we've got, File Explorer on the left hand side, different bits around source control. You've also got a terminal that you can view when you've opened up the project, and so you can either generate a project from here and literally type in your prompt and crack on with that. I have found that as I've got kind of more into this, I probably start skipping that Firebase Studio step. But the only thing that's really good about Firebase Studio is it gives you that structure to start off with. And if we look at one of my other projects, so So this one, uh, this is the so when we did the word cloud a minute ago, this was the code for the word cloud. So yeah, and I realized I needed to do it really quickly. I couldn't be bothered to pay for something, so I thought, okay, I'll just create it. Took me about 20 minutes to get it built from a prompt, exported the code, and then uploaded it to Netlify for hosting. So how are we doing here? 50%. Okay. It's a good idea, obviously. It takes a while to download. Nice one. I take it there's no questions at all. Anyone want to come off mute? Anyone got anything?
No, it's the same. Oh, go on. No, you ask. I was going to ask a stupid question.
I know, yeah.
It was just with regards to, you said on the ChatGPT that you trained it to scour Reddit and search for, asks from people for, money making ideas.
Yeah.
What do you mean by you've trained ChatGPT? Can you elaborate on that a bit?
Yeah. So if you've got the Chat Plus subscription,
Right, that's probably why I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, you can go to GPTs, and then you can go create, and you can create your own.
Oh, so you literally just pump it full of information to become an expert, and you can get it to work from there.
You can also do the same with projects in ChatGPT, which I'm not sure is a paid feature or not.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that. Yeah, back again.
ChatGPT first came out, you could go into sort of like your profile and write about yourself, give yourself any sort of demeanor you wanted, and then it would basically, give your feedback. Would be, if you were a marketing, you could say, I want it in the style of X, gear it towards people that can read at a third grade level, yada yada yada, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Is this just a better version of that now, shall we say?
Yeah. So if you look on the left hand side, what I've got here, the ones that I use quite a lot, like I've got a one that's called Power Platform Mentor.
Yeah.
So that has access to the licensing guide. It has access to Learn. It has access to anything really Power Platform related, and I tell it that it's a Power Platform Mentor at a solution architect level, and I might ask it questions, and I'm asking it to not directly tell me the answer, but asking me to think about how I can go about getting the answer.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, I've also got like, for instance, this one. So this is for the East of England. I don't know why I've called it EOS, East of England Power Platform Summit. So that helps us write sponsorship packs and all that kind of stuff. Again, I'm just telling it's an event organizer. My wife's having some trouble with her work at the moment, and she wants to try and get into a new job. So I've uploaded her CV to a custom GPT, and I've given it some context about what her background is, so that it can help with that.
I'm gonna be one of them then.
Yeah, I've even got, I don't know where it is. I thought I did have it. I had one where, because my daughter got diagnosed with dyslexia, and I, every year when she gets her report from school, I add that as its context, and then also add her dyslexia assessment, which is, it's really long. It's like 40 pages long or something. And so if we have a problem where we maybe aren't able to explain something to her in a way that she understands, I can come in here and open that custom GPT and say, we're having problems with Esme working with phonics. Have you got any exercises that maybe you might be able to point us in the right direction and how to help her? So that's like it's like her own personal educational consultant.
That's amazing. Wonderful.
Yeah. And I mean, like, yeah, ChatGPT Plus is like £20 a month, and I would say just for the ChatGPT custom GPT function, which I use a lot, I would say that's worth it just for that alone.
Well, that's a game changer. I mean, really is. Like, if you can, specify. I mean, I like, jujitsu, and I keep breaking myself, so I need strength and conditioning training and things like that because I'm now decrepit and old. It's a perfect thing to make yourself. You've got your own PT instructor there, didn't you?
Yeah.
John, with
yes,
the custom
GK,
GPTs,
yeah.
does it store a history of every chat you have with it? Like, can you go back through the separate chats you've had with that GPT?
Yes. So what happens is every time you have a chat, it creates a chat history,
Oh,
and you
okay.
can go straight back into it.
Yeah, because I prefer the project layout, as in when you go into a project, it then gives you every chat listed that you've associated with that project. That's what I prefer and how I do it. But I like your method of using
But in
that way of doing
theory, what you could do is you could just go in there, export that chat, and then go and create something in Notebook LM.
Yes, yeah,
Right?
definitely.
So you can do that as well, depending on what you want. Now, GK's got his hand up. Yes, mate.
Thanks, John. My question was regarding further enhancement to the ideas. Sometimes, the first shot, it gets it, almost perfect. The more you try to tweak it, tune it, the worse it usually gets. So that's with the, sometimes the development, the vibe coding. What's your experience with this?
Yeah, so first of all, I'm just going to go into Windsurf, and I'll show you that in a minute. For some reason, I don't know what's going on with this download, but it's been a pain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to this and copy this, and we're just going to do it in Windsurf because it's been a pain. So what is really good about Windsurf is that you can contextualize it. So let me just start a new project, and I'll show you what I mean. So selected the folder. As you can see, there's nothing in there at all. And then what I can do is I can press Control L here, and so they're kind of AI helper kind of thing. They call it Cascade. It's called. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy and paste the. Can you see that all right? Maybe you can't see it. I'm going to copy and paste that into the chat, and it is going to start building this structure for me in here. Now, we did do that in Firebase, but for some reason that download was taking all day. So I'm just going to do it in here. And as you can see, it's creating the files. It's asking me to, it always asks me to accept the changes. So this is handy. It's at the start, you kind of, it is a bit of like you're just clicking accept most of the time while it creates these things. But there are some times where, like when you come to deploy or it does something wrong or whatever, you can like kind of go back to that step. So for example, if I wanted to start again here, I can click up here and you see there's the revert to this point button. So if I did click that and then click submit again, it would delete everything and it would start again from the beginning. So it's creating a plan on what to do. It's creating all the files for a React.js project, and it's just churning through this basically. Down here at the bottom, you can select different models, and depending on which model you use, depends on the amount of tokens it's using. I normally stick to Claude Sonnet 4.5 because that's at the moment, I believe it's the best benchmarked coding tool there is. But there is GPT-5 and there is this Claude Sonnet 4.5 thinking thing. In here, so it's telling me that I'm a pro user, and it's also telling me how many credits I've got left. And if I click manage, it's going to take me to my Windsurf website, Windsurf page, and I can click on profile, and you can see. So I've written 33. Well, Cascade has written 33,000 lines of code, and and it tells me how many credits I've used, etc., etc. And you can buy more credits if you want to here. So going back to Windsurf, once it's created all of this, there is so basically it uses like markdown files and things like that it will create as a kind of tracker to to kind of understand where it's going and keeping everything in context. But GK, to your point, if we click on manage here, so let me just show you where that was again. If we click on manage, we've got these rules that we can create. So you can create global rules or workspace related rules. So and then it will create a Windsurf rules file that it will always use in context. So what I mean by that is if I go a new window and open up so I don't know if you've seen the Power Academy calendar that I basically built that, and then working with Haldang Rashid on that one. But in here we have up at the top this Windsurf rules, and I'm basically telling it in here that what its latest safe production build was, talking about important things where when I've iterated and I've come up against a problem. For example, in React, it's really important to have an environment variable which tells what environment the app is running in. Now, this is nothing, I didn't know anything about this. I don't know anything really about code React.js too much, but I understand now from doing this that I understand how it's configured and what I need to do to make sure that it's a successful kind of project. So here I'm talking about personas, I'm talking about the build, I'm talking about it, and a lot of this also is Windsurf telling itself. So at the end of every major bit of build, I'll always always stop at the end and say, can you tell me anything that you've learned in this session that you need for context moving forward so that I can update your Windsurf rules? And it will spit that out for me. So a lot of this is around, like here, like prohibit committing secrets. This bit here, I had a problem where the Firebase connection string was too large for Netlify's import limits when it comes to building. So I needed to work out how to do that. Windsurf told me, okay, well, you can have like a kind of contextual JavaScript file which has all of that information in it, and then we won't expose it to Netlify's build process. Yeah, so as you can see, there's loads and loads of stuff in here. I think I'm nearly at the limit for how many characters are in there, but yeah. So GK, I think, does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's a nice one. So once you have a baselining, you could actually, set the rules,
Yes.
any learnings and guardrails, etc.
Yes.
So it doesn't deviate from the path. And if it does, at least you can come back. So you've shown me how we can revert the changes as well, which is good.
Yeah.
Now, is there a limit to sort of how much tweak can you?
No. The only limit is your credits. Yeah. So I would say the calendar, I think between me and Haldane probably cost about 100 quid in Windsurf credits. But if I take that, if I take the like we've got a wiki page on our Notion board which details and gets updated by the Notion MCP server, part of Windsurf, then I will get it to update as part of the at the end of any session. I'll say, right, update the functionality inside that wiki, and I've copied that wiki, cut and paste that, put that in ChatGPT, and asked how long would it take a single developer to build this, including testing? And the latest response to that was 2 years. And I've done it in, I would say, I've spent 130 hours probably on it, end to end. And that's everything from test suite creation right the way through to, feature build, bug fixing, pushes and pulls from GitHub, deployments to Netlify. So it is a game changer. And like, for example, that word cloud one, sometimes I don't even remember. Well, hold on a second, I could have just done that in Windsurf, and I did it, and it was ready in like half an hour before the call. So it's basic, but it does a good job. The other projects I've done, Windsurf is really good. Like, it does seem to understand pretty much everything. So I got it to create an MCP server. I've used that to help with my kids' pocket money. So we've got like this mission control thing where and I'm just waiting for it to get approved on the Alexa kids store, and then they'll be able to download it to shut up, and they'll be able to they'll be able to download it onto their, and they'll be able to say, well, I've completed this chore, or I've completed this mission, and I can set missions on my parent version. So it tells you how to do everything. Like that involves creating Lambda functions in AWS. I have got no idea how to do that, but you can ask Windsurf and it will tell you step by step and break it down for you step by step really clearly. So as if by magic, it says that the project is fully functional. So I am going to start this on a local host, and we're going to see what it looks like. So yeah, I clicked on, so in each one of these, this is like an action that Cascade is doing, and I can click on that little button there, which then opens that associated session in terminal. So it's installing all of the prerequisites that it needs for to be able to create it, which is supplied by the package JSON, I believe. Just going to wait for that to finish. So also, I think I need to, okay, so this is interesting. This is the, so it's actually created a V app, not a Node.js app, and it needs these Firebase credentials. So I know how to get this, but I could say, okay, well, tell me how to get these Firebase credentials. But what I need to do is I need to head over to the Firebase console. And go into my project, which hopefully it did create. If it didn't, you can create one and then associate with it. Hi, Rashmi.
Hello, sorry.
How you doing? All right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
You basically come at the bit, in Blue Peter, where they go like, and here's what I made earlier. We're basically at that bit. So I'm going to create a new project. I'm going to call it Daily Achievements. And then I'm going to click Continue. It's very straightforward. Like, it can embed Google Analytics if you want to. I'm not going to bother. And then it's going to create the project for me. Okay, so back here, it's installed all the packages, and now it is going to run the website for us, and let's see what it looks like. Okay, that's that. So in here, so this is the Firebase console, and I am creating a web app. So I need to go to my project settings, and I need to go to Firestore database to create a database instance. And again, it's very much just click and play here. So create a database. You've got two options: enterprise for like really heavy use, or standard. I normally go for standard for the stuff that I'm doing myself. I choose the nearest location to create the database, and always start it in production mode. Yeah, I've had problems with this test mode, but it's not production. It's just it basically keeps your data private by default, which is what you want. Okay, so doing quite well here. I don't think these are going to work because we haven't set up auth yet. So we need to do that here. So that's our database. So that's our database, basically. And then we also need users and permissions. And we are going to go to integrations. No. Authentication, that's the one, right? So we're going to build some authentication, or give the application access for authentication. And ours is Google and Microsoft. For now, I'm going to create Microsoft authentication. What we need to do is we need to go and create a application registration in Azure for this, which is quite easy. And again, you know, if you're not sure, you can ask Windsurf all of this. I'm going to go into app registrations, new registration. This is daily achievements auth. I am going to have accounts in any organization, and back there it's given me the redirect URL. So I'm going to put that in there and click register. And then I am going to copy the application ID, stick that in here, and then I am going to give it create a certificate. Any movements, and copy the value for that, stick that in there, save. That's Microsoft Auth enabled. And then I need to also just go back to the API permissions and grant admin consent for the user read. And that's basically allows that authentication to auth against Microsoft's authentication layer, the MSAL authentication layer. So if in theory I refresh this, it's still not going to work, I don't think, because we need to go to project settings, and I need to create this app for this project. So if I click on web, I'm just going to call it daily achievements and click register. This is going to give me these important bits that I need with the API key and stuff to do with the Firebase project. And I need to then head back to Windsurf, and I need to copy. I've got a .env environment in environment variable here, and I am going to copy and paste those, and I just need to update those. Save that. What I'm going to say though is I'm going to say I have just updated the variables for Firebase. Do I reflect those changes? Now I know that the local server needs to be restarted because I've updated the environment variables, but that's only because I've kind of gone through this process lots and lots of times, and I know that that's the case. So it's stopping the server, and then it's going to run the server again. And now, when we come to here, we should hopefully be able to auth with Microsoft. And there we are. We're in. So, I mean, I know we are quite close on time, but I mean, if you look at this, I mean, yes, it's probably pretty basic, but from what we've told it in its prompt to where we are, and that's taken an hour. I mean, it's quite crazy, really. I mean, let's see even if the goals work, because new goal. Ensure you build GK's daily achievement website. I mean, it's only taken an hour, so let's see if that creates a goal. So, like there are things that are not working. So it's not created the goal when I click create goal. So I can either look at the console and find out what's going on. Or I can just simply go right, copy and paste this, and I'm going to go back to Windsurf. Having a problem creating a goal, and post the error in, and I probably think it's something to do with, it's to do with this Firestore permissions problem. So it's going to tell me to update those permissions, and it's also then going to go and fix that infinite loop that it's discovered. So I need to copy that, head back over to Firebase, and go to the database, go to rules, and paste the rules it's given me, and then wait for it to fix this. So it says that it's fixed it. So let's head back over to here and reset that. Yeah, there you go. Nice.
Hey.
Very good. So now I know we're out of time, but there's one more bit that I wanted to show you. Do you have time to stay on for a couple of minutes? Yeah. Okay. So I've always kind of thought, well, okay, that's great, but it's locally hosted. How do I get it? How do I get it on the web? So to do that is quite simple-ish. You need to go to I would go and host the code on GitHub. So head over to GitHub, create a new repo. Let's call it GK Daily Achievements. You know, might as well name it properly, right? And I'm going to say it's a private repo. I don't need to give anything else, and I'm going to create the repository. I am then going to copy the Git repo address, go back to Windsurf, and say, looking good. Let's get it on GitHub repo. And it does all of the authentication for you. So it knows who I am because I use GitHub, on a daily basis. It's going to initialize the repo. It's going to then commit it to the repo and push it to the repo for me. So there it added all of the code. And what's really cool there is that it did that option, it did that action automatically. And it did it automatically because in here, when you click on run, you can go add to allow list. And that's basically just like a markdown file that it reads and it understands, okay, well, when I say git add full stop, I'm just going to do it anyway. It gets a little bit, it's getting a bit confused here with the stuff that it can use in the commit message, but it can read the terminal and it can see that there's a problem. So it's going to do it again. Still a problem because it's probably got these forward slashes, and it's like, okay, let's do it a different way. And there you are. So you know who I am. So let's keep going. I don't know what's using that email address because that's not my email address. So it's doing a commit with the commit message, and then it's going to push to the main branch. In this case, you can also obviously set this up with dev and main branches inside GitHub. So I do that with the calendar. It's got one repo, but it's got a dev and main branch. And then when you do the Netlify bit, you link it to the right repo for the right place. So in a moment, there you go. So it's pushing it now. And that's done that. If I now go back to the repo and I refresh the page, there it is. So now what I can do is head over to Netlify. So netlify.com, and we can go to projects, and I'm going to go add a new project, and I'm going to say import existing project. It's connected and authorized for me to connect to GitHub, so it knows my repo, and I am going to go to GK, where is it? Yeah, there it is, GK Daily Achievements. I'm going to just keep it the same name just because it's easy. I am going to deploy it to the main. I'm going to deploy it from the main branch. Now we do need to add some environment variables, but that's not so easy doing it here. So I'm going to deploy it first, and when that deploys, I will then go back and get the environment variables from the env file here and paste those over there. So it's still doing loads of stuff here as well. I think it wants to push a README, which is very nice. Okay, so that's published. But in Netlify, you can go to project configuration, environment variables, and then add an environment variable. And I'm going to just add all of these in here. I'm going to say that it's a secret key, because sometimes Netlify gets a bit funny with anything that has the word API in it or auth or whatever. And just add all of these. Sorry, this is a bit boring. For those of you watching the video, like, pause and do something else, or listen to my dulcet tones, whichever you prefer. Any of that. Last one. Now, because I've just added these, I do need to trigger another build in Netlify to pick up those environment variables, but I don't need to deploy it from Windsurf. I can just come back to deploys here and trigger another deployment without the cache, and that basically will do that deployment. Now, sometimes here it gets a bit funny about these environment variables. It might say that there are errors because secrets have been exposed. That's one thing that I've noticed Windsurf is not so clever at. It does understand what a .m file is, and it is in the git ignore here, which means that it's not going to deploy it. But sometimes, for some reason, it instead of using the environment variable, it will use the key in its setup. So one thing which I also should have probably done is I should have just said, can you check that these environment variables are actually calling the process env environment variable and not its actually hard-coded value. So yeah, this is the error. So this is the error. Netlify is failing because it thinks it can see some environment variables. So I can just copy this here, come over to Netlify. I'm going to skip that git push because I know that I need to fix this. And I can just say secrets exposed. Make sure code base is using their names. And I will just get rid of this.
I'm surprised it's not already in your rule book.
Yeah, well, it's a new project, and I haven't done it. So, yeah. So it's creating a file that because it knows that these keys, apart from the API key, but the rest is public. The rest is basically public knowledge. It's creating a Netlify file which will tell it to override those, and then it will push that as part of another deployment. So now that the GitHub is linked with Netlify, when it finishes, I mean, it's probably going to say, I need to build it. So after it's written this file up, and again, this is part of it. Again, it's giving itself context. It's writing up what it's done, and it's part of the project. So it's always got access to these files, apart from the stuff that's in the .env file or anything that's in the git ignore. It can't open. But yeah, it's built that, and now it's going to do the git add again, and then it's going to deploy it again. And you'll see when we, yeah, another thing that I need to add: don't use backslashes. It's because it's used to. I'm running this on a Windows 11 laptop, and I used to have it on a Mac, and on a Mac I was using Bash, and it was instead of PowerShell, so it kind of worked a little bit better. But if we now go back to deploys, it's building again because it's triggered a deployment because it knows that there's an update on the GitHub repo and it's published. So if I click on this and so good. Well, now the reason why I think that's not working is because I haven't added the callback URL on the auth inside the Firebase project. So I know we're kind of like over time. So that's kind of where we've got to. Yes, it's working locally. Yes, there's some tweaks that I'd need to do. But again, this is something that I can just say to Windsurf, on Netlify build web application. I got this error. And it's going to tell me what to do. So yeah, it knows that I need to give it a new app registration and then I need to go and register it in the Firebase console, and that will fix that problem. Well, there you go. An hour and 11 minutes, not too bad. Has anyone got any questions before you all depart?
Well, now that it's being recorded, can I ask you why you're so handsome?
I think it's probably because of this hoodie currently.
Oh yes, it is a very nice hoodie. It is a very nice hoodie.
Yeah. Any other questions? Rashmi, got any questions? Are you good?
Yeah, I kind of missed the beginning, so I'll have to watch the video. Maybe I'll message you with questions.
Yeah.
It's kind of have not used Firebase, Windsurf, and all this. It's just like more on
No worries.
Microsoft kind of platform. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same as, obviously, as you know, Power Platform consultant by trade. I just kind of, I wanted to get into this because I felt like I was kind of, I think it was because I felt like I was missing out. It was like FOMO basically, and then I came across like this just random YouTube channel. I can't remember her name. I have to find her name, and she's got like over 500,000 people now, and she just basically went through which to her were the best AI IDEs and why, and she chose Windsurf, and she said, you know, this is to her is the best one. There are others available, and I think they're all going to be competing with each other, but I find this the easiest to use. And yeah, it just makes sense to me. Yeah.
Is it free, or you get free trials?
It's not free, no. I would say monthly I pay 20 for ChatGPT, 14 for Google, which gives me Google Pro for Notebook, and then 12 for Windsurf, and 13. So what's that? I don't know. Quick maths, about 50 quid a month probably for all of those. And then I top up Windsurf credits as and when I need them. Yeah,
that's good to know the pricing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not too bad. It's just like with time, like to go and play with other tools.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, everyone. I really appreciate you coming.
One question, just so I understand.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jon.
Yes. Yeah, sure.
So the rules are project specific. They are not global rule sets.
You can set both.
Okay, cool.
So when you click on that bit and go to manage, where it says Windsurf settings, you can set global rules, which is across all projects, or Workspace specific rules. Yes. Nice.
Brilliant. Thank you.
All right. No worries. Thank you very much,
Jon.
everyone. Really appreciate it. Thanks for coming. Nice to see you all. All right.
Thanks, Jon.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.